Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm your host, Jeff Howard, and this is a fun one because I have Gerrit van Woudenberg with me. And Gerrit, hey Gerrit, I always say hi first.
Hey Jeff, how's it going?
I am good, and I amusingly didn't confirm this with you, but you're up in Vancouver.
I'm in
British Columbia, Canada,
yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So Gerrit is in one of my favorite cities on this planet, to be honest. Not just because my best friend of 45 years lives in Vancouver, but honestly, Vancouver is one of the greatest cities on earth. I cannot visit it enough. So I'm kind of bummed. I should have flown up there to record this, but instead we were on Zoom, and this is my way of just letting the audience know if you're listening to this and the audio feels off or if we interrupt each other, it's probably the micro delay of Zoom. Sometimes, like as Gerrit and I are talking, we're never going to interrupt each other. But sometimes that micro delay of Zoom makes it sound like we're stepping on each other. So I always say that at the beginning when it's a Zoom recording. And now I'm going to talk about Gerrit, because Gerrit is on this podcast because his film Quantum Suicide took home 2 awards at Film Invasion Los Angeles in 2024. It got Best Feature Film Sci-Fi, and it got, I love this one, it got Best Production Design for a Feature Film for your, I believe, Raphael Capitelli? Sepitelli. I double-checked Woudenberg. I did not think to double-check Sepitelli, but Raphael, I mean, Quantum Suicide, we will discuss it in depth when we get to it, I'm sure. But man, it's a great-looking film. And man, the production design is fantastic. So I'm so glad that the jury chose you for that one. If they hadn't, I might have been like, God damn it. Let's I never changed the awards. But anyway.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. That was really important to us, like that visual, that look from the very beginning. I had that in my mind before we started making that movie. And we spent many months like building that little particle accelerator set inside my garage. It was one thing we could do.
It shows. I mean, I'm about to ask you, oh, wait a minute. There's so much to say here. There's so much to say in this introduction, right? Because first of all, we're talking because Quantum Suicide is about to be released, right?
Yes, that's correct. It comes out, I don't know when this podcast gets released.
Well, I think we're going to release this one on October 17th, and your film comes out October 18th?
18th, yeah. My film comes out tomorrow.
Tomorrow. And by the way, that means today...
Is your birthday?
Is my birthday. I just turned 56 on the day that this gets released, because 56 is kind of old. But anyway, we're actually recording it. I'll just burst the bubble. We're recording on October 8th so that it's ready to release on October 17th, the day before it releases. And where should people go? Like, first of all, I'm going to curse. Like, you've got to fucking watch this movie. Everyone should watch this movie. This movie's fucking great. So, is there a website they go to first, or should they just go to like VOD services and such?
So I mean, it's playing a lot of places, but the easiest, you can rent it on Amazon. You can stream it for free on Tubi. But it's also on Fandango and Varian Fios, and you can rent it on cable in the States, and you can watch it on Plex. And there's probably some more also. Yeah,
so people can watch on their favorite service. But I'm going to make a little pitch right now. And odds are, by the way, this isn't to make you money. This is to be a purist. Because, if people are listening to the Discover Indie Film podcast, they should be a bit of a purist about film.
Yeah, I don't think
they don't want commercials.
I don't think we're going to make any money on this movie.
No, and if people, I assume if people rent it on Amazon, somebody else gets the money, not you. So maybe Amazon, but...
Yeah, I don't know enough about what the finances look like behind the curtain.
But I will stress, if you're listening and you're gonna watch the film, you should watch the film. Just rent it on Amazon. Just by I know we all only like free things in this world, but this is, you will hear the story, but this is a film that took over a decade to make. Gerrit is an artist who made a film completely self-financed, I believe, and like just support it. Just pay whatever it is. I didn't clear it with you, but I don't know if it's $5.99 or whatever, but it's worth it. Put a little money, right? Like a purchase is a vote. And by paying to rent it on Amazon, you are kind of saying, as an audience member, that I want good, independent, creative work, and I'm willing to support it. Is that too much of a soapbox?
I mean, I know I agree, and I mostly because I hate commercials, and I don't like I don't want anyone to have to watch commercials, especially in the middle of a movie. It seems crazy.
Yeah, even if you get to choose the break points, it does break it up, and besides that, it sort of sends a message. I think. I mean, Lord knows everything we do is being measured. Yeah, all our data is being collected.
Yeah.
So, if you rent this film somewhere on some actuary table, it shows somebody that like, oh, there's interest in work like this. Whereas if you just watch it on Tubi, fair enough, but at least the Tubi people will know, okay, we don't just have to show horror. Maybe sometimes sci-fi is good. But anyway, I really hope people pay to see it on Amazon because it should not be broken up by commercials.
I mean, I just want people to see it. I'll be so happy.
Yeah, that's true. And seriously, watch it. I will. I will. I wish I was an influencer so I could just say, one of these days I'd love for my endorsement to add because I really, let's be honest, I have great taste.
I, I appreciate everything I've seen that you have programmed, and I mean, your interest in our work.
Yeah, but yeah, that's true. I mean, you were part of Filmvasion Los Angeles in June, and I think from Vancouver you did get to watch some stuff remotely, and like, man, these indie films are so. Let's not say they're superior to what we get, but I can tell you when you watch Quantum Suicide, there is a level of attention, and there's caring about the story, caring about the look. You already shared, how much effort you put into the look of your set, and and really the story is just so tight. And and I watched a very hip, popular show on a popular streaming service just last week with my wife. We sat down. I finally got to watch something with her because I didn't have to watch festival submissions anymore. And like throughout it, I was like, this is really entertaining. And there's annoying plot holes. And you could just tell that they didn't give a shit. And they just were putting out a product that they knew would sell. And like, I didn't want to complain too much, but I was just saying after every episode, I'm like, God, couldn't they have just done X so that I didn't have to be annoyed by this plot hole, or I didn't have to be annoyed by this, but there's no reason for them to put too much effort into the way they write it because people are going to watch it based on the actors and the this and the that. So I don't know. I've already wasted way too much of your podcast pitching to people that they should support films like yours. But I guess that ties in. And so go to Amazon.com. And the cool thing is, well, your title, Quantum Suicide, is very specific to the plot and to the story. Needless to say, anyone who watches the film will then go to Wikipedia and read up on Quantum Suicide, like I did. But besides that, it's a unique enough title that when they search for it on Amazon or Tubi, they will find your film.
Totally, whereas, it is the only Quantum Suicide film.
The only one. And with apologies to all my friends who made a film called Rideshare, if you type in Rideshare, there's like 117 films called Rideshare on Amazon right now, and good luck finding the one you're after.
Yeah. It was important to me that we got to use that name because like when you see the film, like it'll make a lot more sense, but it's like it really like the movie is this self-contained like loop, and the whole thing like it is quantum suicide. And if we weren't able to get like I didn't know if we'd pass clearances for that. But I was dreading having to rename it. Would have been so awful. Like, and I love that. I don't want to like give away too much, but it's just it's the right name for that movie.
It totally is. And yeah, and it's unique and it stands out and it conveys a level of seriousness, I think. And thankfully, like that quantum, it also conveys the genre. It conveys so much. It's such a good title. I gotta admit, I am a little guilty of being a titleophile, if that's a term. Like
Titles.
Well, and I've been doing this film festival thing for a decade, so I've seen so many. And like, is it wrong? If someone has a not too thoughtful title, sometimes I joke with my wife when she's watching screeners with me. I'm like, no way a film with this title is going to be any good. I also judge the font. If you show your title card and the name of the film is in a lousy font, I'm like, well, if you couldn't choose a good font, you're not trying hard enough.
You don't care enough.
Right? You got to try. You got to care. Or you looked at that font and you thought it looked great, and I'm like, well, now you have no aesthetic taste, so I'm probably not. But I'm always open to someone proving me wrong. Just it never happens. All right. Well, this has been so much preamble. Let's hop in.
Yeah.
I let you know, because I love films like yours and filmmakers like you. What I really want to hear is what got you the stage that, when did you get involved in film? Did you get involved in some other creative path first, whether it was writing or, it always amazes me how many filmmakers started with something else. I'm going to assume you were never a ballet dancer, but a lot of ballet dancers end up making film. And my joke with them is like, oh, so film is easy after ballet.
No, I've never been a ballet dancer. I have been practicing yoga daily for more than a decade, but I was making movies a long time before that.
All right. So how did you get involved in film? What was your first, when did you catch the creative bug?
Like, I think the first time I remember a film blowing me away, it was The Usual Suspects. It played on City TV, and like late at night one time. I was like probably 11 or 12, and I don't know, that movie just like that twist at the end. I was my young mind. It just blew me away. And then I remember like the guy came on, the voiceover came on after to talk about the movie. There was like a VJ kind of thing, and he's like, and we're gonna play it again. We're gonna play it again right now because it's the movie you want to see twice. And
that is like, the coolest thing I've ever heard. That's so cool. A movie you want to see twice.
Totally. So then I got to watch it again when I was 11 years old, and that's something I still do. Like the first time I saw Primer, was like, got to the end. I'm like, okay, we're starting it over at the beginning now. I need to understand this. So yeah, I don't know. I had some experiences when I was a teenager where I was like, just where movies really like blew my mind. And
I'm already going to point out, and I did interrupt you there, but I am going to point out that also both films you just named are clear inspirations for quantum suicide, but also it showed you that film is a medium where attention to detail can really be like those are both films that when you watch them again, you see so much more. And I think that's the kind of film you made.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. I'm a sucker for those like 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 more indie, like they're lower budget, but they like this the plotting is so tight, and there's like twists and reversals and things that get recontextualized when you get more information or when you get to watch it again. Like I don't know what that type of story is, but like the early Christopher Nolan stuff, like I really love those kinds of movies. And luckily it's the kind of stuff you don't necessarily need a ton of money to make, because it's about the story, it's about the little things. It's not about the $1 million set pieces.
And isn't it the greatest experience when you watch it again and it holds up?
Yeah, totally.
Like, because there's actually a film in the festival this December that I watched a second time to see if it held up, because it had some really interesting twists, like important twists at the end. And you sometimes say to yourself, I don't know if that was, maybe it was just, sometimes there's the cop out twist, and sometimes there's the twist that you go back and you watch again and you're like, oh, it was set up the whole time and like we didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's great type of storytelling. Were you into storytelling before this realization of watching Usual Suspects and something like Primer, or really was that's what gave you the bug of wow, there's films that speak to me, I want to make one?
I mean, I think films that were speaking to me as a teenager. I used to write short stories then. Mostly I would write short stories. Because I didn't have the means to make movies, but I was obsessed with the idea of making movies. So I would download, I would torrent stuff I could get. So I would have footage, and then I would cut it, and I'd make music videos out of stuff I could pull off the internet, and I'd author DVDs. So I could just I wanted to work with the technology. But it takes a lot of resources to make it. It's much easier now that we all have cameras in our pockets. But when I was a kid, you needed to get some stuff to be able to make a movie, to record video and record audio, and I didn't have that. But I don't know. Throughout high school, if I could ever get away with hey, let me make a documentary instead of submitting this paper, if any teacher who would let me do that, I would do that. It
sounds like you got a yes a couple times.
Yeah, and I got some yeses for sure.
That's huge.
And I didn't know that being a filmmaker was an actual career, like a legitimate career choice. Like the family I grew up in it's like, you're gonna go to university, you're gonna become a doctor, you're gonna become a lawyer, you're gonna become an engineer. Those are the acceptable choices. They're the most boring, normal, I don't know, high achieving kind of options. And I didn't know you could be a filmmaker. But do you know Matt Johnson, who made Blackberry?
Actually, I don't. I guess I'm gonna break my rule and add that to my things to watch list.
Matt Johnson's an amazing indie Canadian filmmaker, but he's done quite well. He's doing very, very well and making big movies now. But we're childhood friends. Our moms went to medical school together, so I've known Matt forever. And Matt was into film when we were little, and Matt was like, "I'm going to do this for my career." And he was the first person that opened my eyes to the idea that's a possibility, that you could make movies.
Because I was going to ask, I did a little math in my head when you talked about Usual Suspects and you were age 11 when it came out and stuff. So in theory, you grew up in the era when you were growing up in Vancouver?
I grew up in Toronto. In Canada. Yeah.
Right. Which is sort of the entertainment center of Canada, although Vancouver sort of became Hollywood North in the 90s.
Yeah, I think the Canadian film industry is the largest in Vancouver, but it's just a service industry. So it's like the creatives and the ideas aren't really coming out of Vancouver, but it's where production happens for American films.
Yeah. Whereas Toronto is the home of the CBC and stuff, right? So So like Toronto's kind of fairly the oh, this is such an American thing. I'm about to call it the LA of Canada.
Yeah, it's like where the like it's where the brains and the ideas and the creative and the actual Canadian film.
And the decision makers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were around that, but still in the world of be a professional, get a good degree and get a good life. And I will joke that yeah, the engineers and accountants and doctors and lawyers, the people who I say to myself, God, why didn't I do that? So that I might have been miserable. Maybe I would have been miserable, but boy, they take much better vacations than film festival runners.
Yeah, I mean, we could have had easier, more boring lives for sure.
For sure.
But I'm not unhappy with my life decisions.
No. So you got were the documentaries in high school? I mean, were those the first films, or were you doing some fun stuff at home with like a high 8 camera or something? I'm trying to think of what technology was around when you were young. It might have been something after high 8. It might have been over to digital or something.
I mean, I didn't have a camera. I didn't have the ability to record video. So I was just downloading stuff and cutting it. Like I was just remixing stuff and learning how to edit and doing post.
Which is a huge skill to develop.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I came out here and I went to university.
Oh, so when you did a documentary for school, it was that style where you would...
I was literally just taking other people's footage and audio and cutting new stories out of it.
Right. See, I watched so many documentaries. I pictured you sitting people down on a couch and talking about a subject. But yeah, no.
I didn't have a camera.
Right. No camera. Wow.
Yeah.
So, and then when high school ended and university came along, and Canada has that thing between high school and university, right? What's it called? No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, like I finished high school. I came out to Vancouver. I went to university. I hated it. I dropped out. I went to film school.
Excellent.
Then I had access to cameras.
So film school is when you got access.
Yeah.
How cool. Did you use those documentaries as part of your submission or no?
I don't even know if there was video. I don't remember if there was video submission to be a part of it.
But you shifted to an undergraduate film school program, as we might call it. And then was it just you just started sprinting towards filmmaking?
I mean, yeah. Then I worked in I made a lot of corporate videos. I made some commercials. After
graduating.
Yeah, after graduating, how was
the film school experience for you? Was it heaven after trying?
Film school was so fun because it wasn't theoretical. Like we weren't making important things, but you just got to like they gave you the gear and you got to go and play with it and learn how it worked. So for 2 years, you're just making music videos, making TV, making commercials, shooting movies. It's all pretty bad, but you're just your brain's exploding with all the new, learning how to do all that stuff.
And just very practical, hands-on, just you making from the beginning, not super theory based.
Yeah, my film school was a college. It was practical. These were technical abilities. You get to learn all the different jobs that happen, and I don't know, that was amazing. It was incredibly fun, rewarding experience.
Fantastic. And then you said, at graduation you jumped into the Vancouver job scene for film.
Yeah, and I didn't join the film industry, but we were I was making corporate videos, making commercials. And I did that. I had my own company. I was making content for other companies for a while. And we shot Quantum Suicide.
That early?
Yeah, it was so long ago that we shot it. And to be honest, I haven't worked in the film industry like, we've been working on finishing this film, but other than that, I haven't been involved in the film industry for a decade. Like I've lived a whole other life.
So this is
after that.
fascinating. So Quantum Suicide came out as wonderfully, and it was kind of your only connection to film this whole time.
Yeah. And we shot that soon after film school. We shot that like right when I finished film school.
Tell me about the writing of it, right? Because you are credited as the sole writer, and you and Shane Morgan produced together, and you directed. So that script is so fucking good. Did you write that during school?
Yeah, like I had this plan where I was like, I'm going to make one like good movie after film school, or like near the end of film school. Like I want to make like one good film. It was going to be a short film. So I had the short script that I wrote that was like pretty dialed in. And then we built the set, which is a particle accelerator inside my garage of the house I was living in. And me and Raph and Eric Jacobson spent maybe 3 or 4 months like building the set for this movie. And then we got Shane on board as a producer after our set was built. So that at that point, like people could come and look at where we were going to shoot, and they'd be blown away. And then Shane came on, and Shane was like, why don't we make it a feature? And we didn't. I said yes. I was like, that sounds great. Sure, we can. Let's make a feature film. We didn't know how much work that was. We didn't know what we were getting into, but I said yes, and off we went. But then I had to change my short script into a feature, and I didn't have a ton of time to do that. So in a lot of ways, like the film was like we had the script, we were working off of a full production script, but like a lot of the film was built in post-production.
Right. So the quick pivot, but obviously when he said let's make a feature, you must have looked at the story and seen that it would work longer.
Yes, certainly. Like we got to go way more in depth with what was going on. Like it always had like the quantum suicide scene, but originally the film was just going to be like the quantum suicide scenes. And then we got to build it out into a whole story, and it's like, what's this guy's life, and who else is in it, and what drives someone to choose to do this, to look at their reasoning.
I'm amazed because there is no filler in the film. Like it doesn't. I mean, I'm normally pretty good at spotting the shorts that became features, and then you watch the feature and you're like, yeah, that probably should have been a short. It's fully there's no wasted screen time just trying to make it featurey. Like it's still really tight.
I credit that to like our time in post.
Yeah, because in post you really dove into a lot of VFX and things too. Yeah. There's certainly some visual effects. We spent a lot of like time and our budget on sound, like getting the sound right was really, really important. But I mean, I feel like it's paid off. Like I had really like stringent requirements and like a specific vision for like what it looked like and what it sounded like, and like what level the visual effects were at and what level the audio was at. And that's the reason it took so long to finish this film. Because like we had the ability, we could shoot movies, we could cut movies, we could do like the picture, but we could I can't do visual effects at that level. I can't do sound at that level. And without having, it actually costs a lot of money to make a feature film. Like I didn't know how much money it would actually take to do it. And it was getting the sound and the visual effects dialed in is why post took us like a decade to get the film where we wanted it. It's a leading question, but did the amount of time it took, did it in a way help you be like incredibly objective too about the quality you were after? Because, I mean, I guess the question's obvious. What I'm fishing for is that your high standards truly come through. And, I got to imagine, like, once you've been working with it for X number of years, at that point, there's no reason to cut corners. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like you can look at it and go, all right, that shot's not good enough. That effect, that sounds not good enough. Like a lot of people will say, oh, that's good enough. I want to get this sucker out. But you chose the patient route, right? Actually, you know what you did? The old tale of, you can either make it fast, you can make it inexpensive, or you can make it good. But you can only choose two of the three. So you chose good, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
You chose good over fast.
Yeah, we definitely didn't make it fast. It wasn't cheap, but it was
probably cheap by Hollywood standards, right? Like,
yeah, certainly. I mean, I think in the end our budget like came in under $100,000 American. But that's close to free, right? That's considered a micro budget for a feature. Or I think it's considered a no budget.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But like it was all post. Like back when we shot this film, like we did it for nothing. Like, yeah, we built that set for virtually nothing, and all we had to do was feed the crew, and we had a deal from the rental house for gear, just for camera and lights. And that's all it costs to do production, which is amazing.
I guess it wasn't luck, but I still feel like saying you lucked out with casting, because your performances are so good, and you didn't reshoot much, I guess. You didn't mention it.
Like we certainly did do reshoots. We shot one summer, and then that winter we were cutting the film, and we were working on the edit. But it became quite obvious that there's things that are missing from our, like, just from the pacing of the story. Like, we need a scene like this that fits here. And then the next summer, when the weather matched again, when things looked right again, we did reshoots for a few weekends, like 1 year later. But we didn't have the garage anymore. So they're all the scenes in between, but the actual the like meat of the story and inside the particle accelerator, like, we couldn't reshoot any of that.
And I guess I should have just, instead of asking the question that way, I should have just, or making the statement the way I did, I should have said, your lead performer, Andrew Rogerson, just kicks ass. He does such a good job. And needless to say, this film lived or died on your lead performance.
Yeah, I mean, I love Andrew. He's amazing. And I mean, I think there's like a lot of it is the time we got to spend with the edit. And I mean, I don't know, like Andrew had the look, and just like the way, like, he could be the character that we needed. Like, he could just embody that. I actually think that Kate and Kennedy, like, I think they blew it out of the park. Like, I think their performances were incredible. But it's like Andrew's got to carry everything, right? Like, it's like the camera's always on him, and that it's long. But a lot of that, like, we really, like, the editing gets to help you a lot with that. So I'm as the editor, I'm gonna take a credit for some of Andrew's performance.
As you should. Well, look, as the editor and director and producer and writer, but but he gave you what you needed to create a great performance. Because Lord knows, sometimes I feel terrible for an actor, because sometimes you'll watch a film, right, and you'll be like, I can tell they don't suck, but this edit makes them look bad. So you did the opposite. You you took a great performance and truly made it sing because I mean the camera is on him so much. And so much of this is him alone. And then when he interacts with the other two, with the kid and or his wife, the neighbor kid and the wife. Yeah, those scenes are particularly refreshing, I guess, right? Because it gets us out of his head.
I don't think I'll ever make another movie that is so much about like one character by themselves or like a character in a screen. It's like I think we did a really good job of making that interesting, making that something that grabs you. But the amount of editing and post-production it takes to like make that interesting is so much. It's so much more work to make that cool than it is to make some dialogue cool or like an interaction between multiple people. There's so much more that grabs you right away. Yeah, is too much post involved in a movie about a single person.
And your options were more limited, so you had to get really creative. Although I guess that's also another reason why there's so many visual. You lean. I mean, it's a very visual film for an indie. So that was also probably like you in the editing room being like, okay, if I don't go to something else, something that carries my audience into the quantum realm, which I think is like the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like there's no quantum realm, but you know what I mean? Like into
absolutely. Like you have to tell a story. You have to, I don't know, you have to cut. You can't, especially the way I make films and like I think like the visual style that my work has, like the edits per minute or whatever on that film is through the roof. Like it's heavily edited and it's a very stylized kind of way to make movies. It's a very stylized look, but you're cutting all the time. Like it's fast.
Non-stop.
Yeah.
In fact, it is the exact opposite of My Dinner with Andre. Like the conversation film. Like I bet you is part of you jealous? Like, man, there's people who sit a few actors down in a room and film them having a interesting conversation, and then you just get to edit the performances. And like, I bet that looks really refreshing.
There's a lot of ways to make a movie that would be so much faster than what we did, where post would be so like quick and easy.
Well, because you made a film. We'll just talk money. You made a film for $100,000 over 15 years that could have been made in a year with 1.3 million or something. Like that's just, but to your credit, you're not a trust fund kid. So you didn't have that option of just throwing a ton of money at
it. Totally. And it took this long to have enough money to finish the movie. Like largely, we were like, we had to.
Right. So because you were earning along the way, basically, you sort of amortized the post over time. You really did use time. It's an amazing story. The making of the film is an amazing story that, you're so unique. So many people would have dropped it at some point. But was it speaking to you? Were you truly in love with it so much that you couldn't? Did you ever consider walking away or pausing or saying, well,
I never considered walking away. But I think that's just like it's part of how my mind works. Like I very much like I'm a completionist. I have to finish the things that if I'm like choosing to work on something, like I'm gonna finish it. And probably that makes my life less chill. It's a little bit obsessive. It's a lot like the character in my film. But yeah, like I was not gonna not finish this movie. That'd be crazy. If I was gonna do that, I shouldn't have started. I wouldn't have started if I wasn't gonna do it.
Fantastic. And then is there anything else about the production period or the post period uh, that you want to share? I assume it was fun the whole way, right? And also, am I right? Because I know, like, for the festival Q&A we did in June, Shane joined you. So this film did not ruin any relationships.
No,
That's
not at
rare,
all.
right? That's also kind of special.
Like this film, I think, brought a lot of people together who were involved in its creation. But we're still, like, I'm really tight with Shane, my producer, with Andrew and Kate, the leads, and Andrew and Shane and Kennedy, who was the little girl in the movie, who's now grown up. Like we've been friends, and particularly like like Andrew and Shane have been really tight with Kennedy and with her mom Judy, like, for the last 15 years. It's been really amazing to watch her grow up, and Kennedy, like, got like recruited to become a model because of a thing that, like, Shane took her to Fashion Week when she was young, and then that changed the course of her career, and she became like an international, world famous model.
That's amazing. I had no idea.
Yeah, she's lived the most impressive life of all of us. And she became an influencer, and she became a model after she was a child star. Like, she was by far the biggest name in the movie too. Like, when we shot this, she was in The One with Jet Li. Like, she was in Barbie commercial. She was your most known performer. Yeah, she was like a real child actor.
Wow, that's cool. Well, she doesn't. Yeah. She's excellent in it.
Totally.
Wow.
I'm sure she could do anything she wants, but now she's finishing law school, and she's going to become an entertainment lawyer.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, is she dumb question, but, like, does her involvement, did it help along the way, or not so much?
I mean, I think we took too long to be able to capitalize on this.
Right. You would have had to capitalize when she was on the runway or something, or when she was modeling,
or when she was a famous actor.
Right.
Then it would have been great.
Got you. Right. Whereas, yeah. All right. So when you finished it, did you just know, like when the last post-production thing happened, I assume, was it a VFX was the last thing, or was it actually sound was last? Sound was very last.
Yeah.
And as I recall, the score is fantastic.
The score is amazing. I'm like truly in love with the score, and with her composer, Mark Lazeski. Like, I feel like if I had an infinite budget to make, future movies, if I had $100 million, like, I'm still going to Mark. Like, he's my composer for life.
It's fantastic. So was that the last piece, or was it fixing sound issues, or creating soundscapes?
I mean, like Mark and the sound design team, like, work very closely together. But we had the composition was finished first, because it's an important part of the mix, and it kind of dictates what's needed in the sound design. And there's a lot of stuff that Mark does where it's like it's basically sound design. Like, he's really adding these ambience, like these things that give you feelings, that make you scared, and whatever, and distortions and crazy hits. Like, there's the line between sound design and composing is much blurrier than I thought. And then the sound design fills in everything that's missing. But,
well, especially because you had a composer whom you were able to give a locked picture to,
Yeah.
And then your composer took it upon themselves to really cut loose. I mean, I assume you also just said, hey, did you ask for a specific, did you say, I need score here, I need score here? Or did you say, score this film, like give, and use silence when you want to, use score when you want to,
I
or were
mean,
you a little more hands-on?
no, we went through the film together and we decided where, like which parts of time code need score, like what scenes are we scoring.
And
I
obviously
was
all your VFX, all that, like that must have just been candy for a composer.
and the sound design, I feel like even more so, to get to animate that world.
Yeah, yeah. To reduce yourself to, oh man, I do wish I was a particle physicist deep down, but I wish I could describe whether it's quanta or a quantum level. Yeah, yeah. To full disclosure, I'm addicted to like Neil deGrasse Tyson, his Star Talk stuff, and I cannot get enough of this stuff, like
Yeah.
astrophysics and then quantum mechanics, and going from the universal to the quanta.
I mean,
Amazing.
me too. I think as you get older and like you get sucked into the vicissitudes of normal life, like uh you start to lose that sense of wonder. Like you're just so like, I need to do my job and blah, like you get like life becomes your field of mind becomes narrow. But those ideas, when you have the space to think about them, like the cosmological questions about how the universe works, that stuff is so interesting and amazing. But I certainly had more time to think about it when I was younger.
Yeah, yeah, it is nice. It is. Wow, I want to bring up other stuff, but I won't because we're supposed to talk about your film. So,
Cool.
all right. So, sound was last, and then you knew, like it wasn't like, is there anything else I should do? Like you knew it was ready.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we had those last steps kind of planned for a while, as like we finish visual effects, we picture lock it, we bring it into audio, like we do the composing, we do the sound design, we mix, we're done.
You're done, and
Yeah.
then and then and you had so much time. Did you also sort of explore, whether you want to do the festival route or this route or that route? Like, did you have a lot of time to decide what to do with it once it was done, or when it was done, then you said, "Oh shit, now I got to learn what to do with a completed film."
I mean, I no, like my plan was always to go to film festivals. And I didn't think like I didn't think the film would be distributed. I just thought we would make this thing and then we'd get to play film festivals. That was as far as I had like looked into the future. Um yeah, so we just started applying to film festivals.
And was the response? I hope the response was rather positive. Was it? How was your festival experience?
Yeah, it was certainly positive. Like it was one of the best experiences of my life, I think, to go to these film festivals. Um,
Did you get a local one in Vancouver where you got to like go and get your cast there and everyone who worked and everyone you know?
no, we
Motherfucker.
we did not have a festival in Vancouver, but we played Popcorn Frights in Miami. Was our world premiere, which is a pretty like respected and important genre festival. And then we got press off of that, so that kind of kicked things off for us. And through that, our sales agent found us. We played Morbido Fest in Mexico City. We played Utopial in France, in Nantes, in France, which is the biggest sci-fi like convention and festival in Europe, which had 150,000 people at it. And I went in person. So that was amazing. So I presented the film, I introed the film in French to a sold out auditorium of 800 people. And we got to
Amazing
watch it,
experience.
like really
Wow.
on the big screen with like speakers that were the size of whatever, like the size of dressers, the size of a small house.
I'm picturing it. I'm picturing it like the can of sci-fi.
Yeah, yeah, and in Europe, they really respect the art and
the auteur film.
It's just like a film festival in Europe, like a serious film festival in Europe, is so much more like serious than a film festival in North America. It was really amazing to get to be there. Yeah, and we played San Francisco at SF Indie Fest, and we played the Philip K. Dick Film Festival in New York, where we won Best Sci-Fi Feature, and we were in Chattanooga, and then we were in Film Invasion in LA. That was our last festival.
And we wrapped you up, and then at that point, did you look at distribution?
So we got
or was the festival experience so positive, and you kept hearing people talk about, dude, this film should be released?
Like after our world premiere, we got press off of that and a sales agent, like we found our sales agent, and then we started the process like at the beginning of our festival run of talking to distributors and, kind of choosing who we wanted to go with. So we got 10 offers from different distributors and we chose our favorite. And then, by the time it was like this summer and we were playing Film Invasion LA, we had scheduled our release. So it was it was in the works at that point. And then we just had that deadline, like October 18th, it's coming out, no more festivals.
Very cool. And then October 18th, is there like, I don't know. Is it's just fun at this point? Starting tomorrow? Is it just like are you going to, it's going to be surreal to see it on Amazon, I suppose.
Totally. This is all like, this is the one movie that I've made. This is the one feature I've made. This is the only time I've released a film into the world. So I don't really know what to expect. It's all like a cool adventure and a lot of new things and a lot of new skills. But yeah, now I'm doing podcasts. We have influencers who are talking about it. We released our trailer. It will have been 2 weeks ago. So our trailer came out October, I don't know, like 4 or 5. And that's done pretty well. I
was going to ask, did you make that trailer or did they actually farm it out? Did the distributor, whoever you went with, farm it out to some pro trailer people?
No, I cut the trailer. I cut the trailer. Our composer did the sound. Our sound design team did the audio. It's very much our trailer.
Excellent.
But yeah, it's only a few days old right now, but it's been doing quite well. It got picked up by MSN. It got picked up by IGN. So it's gotten people are seeing it. People are approaching the distributor. People are looking for copy. Like people want to see the film. Influencers want to see the film. It's like seems to be happening.
I wonder if am I wrong to think that because it is a genre film, but done so, does the sci-fi thing help? I would think it does.
I'm definitely not an expert
because there's a community. Like there is a community that rarely gets. Look, I'm a sci-fi nerd, but I'm the kind of sci-fi nerd that has a problem with the big budget soap opera sci-fi, the space operas, because I want this.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I love sci-fi very deeply, and I realized there's actually so little of it. Like when you look at lists of the science fiction movies, I'm like, I've actually seen all of them, and this list is short.
It's short, and most of the big sci-fi films let us down in a lot of ways. Every once in a while there's an Ex Machina, which is like, holy shit, someone did it right, and then you see a bunch of big sci-fi films, and you're like, well. Yeah, I'm glad they made a sci-fi film. It's just not as good as reading a book.
Yeah, no, I very much echo that sentiment. And I think if you're a sci-fi, if you love science fiction, you have to read books also, because there's so much stuff that no one's putting into movies. Like no one's making movies like these books,
Nobody.
but they could.
They really could.
I'm writing a movie that's like an epic, like a $100 million space opera, but that's gonna be serious sci-fi.
I love it. I love it. I was, once for a trip, I forgot my Kindle, so I had to improvise. And in the airport, I bought a book this thick, and I'm showing Garrett like my fingers like 2 inches apart, called
Yeah.
"The Best of the Best," and it was like a sci-fi magazine's all their best short stories of like for 20 years or something.
Cool.
And man, a sci-fi short story, especially the longer short stories, every one of them, I'm like, why isn't this a goddamn movie? Why just why wouldn't someone just buy this book and just make a bunch of great sci-fi? But so I'm so glad. By the way, very funny. I think I just decided as you were talking about, I'm like, man, I got to send Neil deGrasse Tyson a link. I don't, every once in a while they respond to like audience questions and shit. I'm like, he's got to see your film, even though I know he'll have a slight issue with the fact that a particle accelerator, you need like a mile, but the particle accelerator thing, totally acceptable for a film this good.
Yeah.
So,
it'd be amazing if he sees it.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
He would love this film. And then I could then there will be a space for me in whatever heaven there is, because I helped out an indie filmmaker. But anyway,
I am sure you have helped out like thousands of indie filmmakers.
Man,
and I really appreciate that, and I love that about you and what you do.
Well, thanks. And by the way, thank you for you. And you just revealed that. So now that Quantum Suicide is almost birthed into the world, its birthday is tomorrow, technically, for everyone who doesn't know you or wasn't at a film festival. And you have this epic feature you're working on.
Yeah, so I have two projects I'm working on now. One of them is a film I want to make, like a film I want to direct. That I'm incredibly excited about. That's like most of like my creative, I don't know, my creative headspace or whatever. Like it's about, I'm so excited for like my next stories. Like I'm so into this film, but I have to spend most of my energy working on the release of Quantum still. But I think it's like this curse of being a creative, being a filmmaker. Like your film is coming out, but you're like, I want to do the next thing, but I have to do, I'm out of sync with everyone else. But yeah, I have two projects that I'm working on now. So one is going to be it's a few $1 million film. It's another like indie sci-fi film. It's called The Rose Peddler. And it's a film about time travel that I'm incredibly excited about, that I'm writing right now. I'm like halfway done through the script, and I hope to get that financed and direct that. And the other thing I'm working on is just the screenplay for this epic $100 million sci-fi film.
That a single film, or is it already like is it a trilogy? No, it's a one film.
It's a single film.
It's a single film that you feel is so big. It's just you're cutting loose. You're already thinking of handing it off to others.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to let me. I don't think they're going to let me make it.
You never know.
Not now. It's like for Denis Villeneuve or Christopher Nolan or something.
Those assholes. By the way, they're fantastic.
Those are both
people.
amazing.
But if wouldn't it be? It would be. Don't you love those stories where like if one of them had seen Quantum Suicide at a festival or something, and then I could see someone like that like championing, handing you the keys to this time travel thing, and then if that one goes well, to the next thing, because
yeah,
Lord knows the community is tight. Like Like they love a new voice coming out. I love when an established Hollywood level director, you know, executive produces something from someone up and coming, you know? I mean, that's how we got Wes Anderson. That's how we got a lot of people.
Totally. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, in terms of like the feedback we've gotten from this film, from Quantum Suicide, like it's been compared to Primer like many times. It's been compared to like early Christopher Nolan. It's been compared um uh to early Darren Aronofsky. Like, and these are like for me, these are like such powerful, like these are influences that like shaped, you know, like shaped my voice, shaped like the stories I want to tell. Um, so I don't know, it feels really nice to have people, like, you know, have critics and have film festival programmers kind of make those connections too.
Absolutely. I mean, look, it's the great thing is it's done. It's out there. So it is a part of the collective of quality indie sci-fi like this, where it's as if we didn't cover this well enough, where it's way more about the ideas than it is about, you know, the special effects budget.
Yeah.
Even though your special effects budget is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, the film looks fantastic. Honestly, the funny thing is, compared to like films I adore, like Primer and Pi and others, like those were like shoestring and look shoestring. I mean, honestly, the only difference between those and Clerks is they're smart. I'm kind of ashamed of myself for comparing Pi and Primer to Clerks, but they're kind of the same vibe as far as production value.
Yeah. I mean, they say Primer was made for like $6,000 or something, I think. But I think Pi was 60 American.
Yeah, because he pulled every I think there's a list of like every friend of his parents who helped out with that film.
Yeah. And it was shot in a studio, right? They built that set.
And what's his name? That amazing older actor. He was an established actor. He probably had to get paid.
Mark Margolis?
Yes, Mark Margolis, yes.
Yeah.
Who was so good on Breaking Bad, but tangent warning.
But yeah, the visual effects in Quantum Suicide have been compared to the visual effects in Oppenheimer. I've been told that, which is like also insane, but like, yeah, I that I mean, I feel like we don't deserve a lot of I don't deserve a lot of the really kind things people say, the really positive things people say, but I mean, but they say them. So it feels nice to hear them.
For sure. And I'm not sure I would do the Oppenheimer comparison, but I will say in no way do I feel that it doesn't feel, I feel like I feel confident in saying you made the film exactly as it should be made. There's nothing I watch that I go, if someone's grandpa said, here's another 500,000, I don't think you'd change anything at this point. You should just pocket that money. Because everything is as it should be.
Yeah. Thank you.
And someday, I apologize for this joke, but someday I'm going to watch it stoned.
Cool.
Because I actually think it might be extra amazing that way. You know what I mean? Because it's so visual in its own way.
I mean, I feel like most of the film was created stoned, so.
Oh, really?
Probably
nice
of that.
That's a relief, because when I said that, I thought, wow, that could be taken either way.
Yeah, no, if I certainly, like, if I'm doing like a creative kind of post-production by myself on my computer, I will certainly consume some cannabis for that sometimes.
Excellent. Well, and I say that I'm giving Gerrit a thumbs up. Last time I was in Vancouver, I went to, it is we're just talking about a legal thing. It's like it's the same as if you were the kind of person that had to have a martini as you edited.
Yeah, which I think would make me a terrible editor.
Oh, so sloppy.
Yeah.
Next day you'd be like, yeah.
Definitely.
Very cool. Well, it's a great film. All right, so I always like to ask, well, this is the kind of thing I would have asked you at the Q&A.
Yeah.
But are there contributors who didn't get mentioned who totally deserve it? I mean, you did a good job of mentioning all your performers and your composer, the post sound people.
I mean, like Casey Bramall, our director of photography, like really did an amazing job of, Casey Bramall, amazing. Our camera operators like Dave Patterson, Mike Crouch, I love those guys. And it was like we had 3 different camera ops, and Kate, like our DP would camera op, and then Dave would camera op, and Mike would camera op, depending on the day and the weekend and stuff. And we'd try and they all had their own style, and we'd schedule it. So it's like, oh, Mike's shooting today, so like we can shoot this kind, like we'll give him these scenes, and we'll get, we'll get this kind of look. Anyways, those guys were all amazing. Our visual effects artist who like, it took forever to do the visual effects, but once we finally like got them dialed in, when we finally had it set up, so like these were the visual effects we're using in the film, they were finally good enough. That was all Joel Lelievre, who is an amazing visual effects artist. And the movie it was stalled until we found him, until he put those in, and actually delivered the visual effects we needed. He was amazing. The rest of our sound team, I didn't mention them. So the team at Lions and Audio, who did all our sound design and our post audio, were amazing. Frank Fogno, like an amazing sound editor and mixer, and the whole team under him.
And was this mostly Vancouver crowd, or when you went to visual effects, you could use anyone in the world because of the internet?
Yeah, visual effects, we could use anyone in the world. Visual effects was such a pain to try to get it done for no money, because I kept, you'd meet someone online who they're an amazing professional VFX artist, and they'll do it for our very meager budget. And then they start working on some stuff, and then they get called by Peter Jackson, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, I have a real movie," and then they're gone. And we kept having those like false starts, and they were right.
People who are like, "Yeah, I can squeeze this into my spare time," and then they're like, "Actually, no, I don't have spare time."
Yeah. But then Joel's credit list is incredible. Like, it's all these ginormous Hollywood blockbusters. And then I believe he wanted a quieter life, and he moved to Halifax, to like the east coast of Canada, and he's working on smaller things. And he's working remotely. He's not at a big studio. He's not making the high pressure big movies. And he took this on, and he did like all the particle shots. He did all of that, all the 3D stuff, and it's amazing. And it was affordable for us. It was within our budget.
Fantastic. Yeah. Excellent. All right. Well, I feel like we've reached our natural conclusion.
Amazing.
And people should, and normally this is where I'd say, like, is there a social media handle that people should follow for Quantum Suicide, or is it really just go to Amazon, and if you're a cheap ass, go to Tubi? But seriously, go to Amazon and watch the film.
Yeah, certainly go to Amazon and watch the film. We have social media handles. It's at Quantum the Film. So at Quantum the Film on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok. Yeah.
Excellent. That will be a clickable link, as they say in the podcast world.
Yeah. And our website. I'm pretty happy with the website that we built as well, which is quantumsuicide.de. So it's Quantum Suicide, but there's a dot before the DE.
Right. So SUICI and then .de.
Yeah. So it's a German website technically.
Yeah. But that works.
Yeah.
That works. As someone who has a .me domain for my personal stuff, I get it. People freak out when you don't have the .com, but it's cool. All right, well, those will both be clickable links. And I guess I will get us out of here with my closing spiel, which is thank you for listening to this podcast. Definitely check out Gerrit's film, Quantum Suicide. I've said it so many times, I don't know why I had to add it at the end. If you want to learn more about this podcast, and by the way, like and subscribe, write a nice review. I don't know. It's be a kind person. There's too many trolls in the world, so everyone complains about things instead of saying they like things. So like and subscribe to the Discover Indie Film podcast. If you want to learn more about it, go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFwins. And there is a little TV series on Amazon born out of this podcast called Discover Indie Film. And that's because Gerrit's the perfect example. Features, we're always finding a home on streaming when I talk to people on this podcast. And the shorts were always just going on YouTube, maybe Vimeo. So I said to a bunch of the people with shorts, hey, you want to put a bunch of shorts together and make it a series using Prime Video Direct where indie people can put stuff on Prime? And we did it. And it was a big success, actually. It did really well when it was included with Prime. And then Amazon made a good business decision probably and said, nope, you can't be free include with Prime anymore. It's 99 cents an episode or $7.99 a season. Right now, there's 7 seasons of the Discover Indie Film TV series on Amazon Prime Video. I do recommend them. They're fucking great. And, for $8, you get to see like 20 to 25 great short films. I mean, come on, it's not too much money. It's not going to break your bank. But spend your money on Quantum Suicide first. All right. And then we talked about that Quantum Suicide got those 2 awards at Film Invasion Los Angeles. You can learn more if you go to filminvasionla.com, and it's at Film Invasion LA on social media. We hold that one every June, and it has a sister festival, basically the same thing, but different time of year. Every December, we hold the Sherman Oaks Film Festival here in LA, and you can learn more at ShermanOaksFF.com, and it's at ShermanOaksFF on social media. And I have to mention one last thing. Even if it doesn't have Quantum Suicide, maybe some days it will, I got involved in the thing for one reason or another, and if you have, hopefully by now people are starting to hear about the Indie channel. It's a smart TV app. It's basically a streaming service on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, Android TV, and it's on your mobile phone. And just download the app for the Indie channel or go to indiechannel.tv. And that is a streamer that is 100% indie films that are the best stuff on the festival circuit. And we're trying to grow that sucker. So that is what I needed to say. And I'm very happy that Quantum Suicide got the release it got because it deserves to be seen.
Yeah, me too. And thank you.
All right. And thank you, Gerrit. And thank you, everyone, for listening.